Hello everyone and welcome back to the MN Homestead. Today we are not at the homestead, we are actually at home in the cities, and I am preparing for our annual Boundary Waters vacation. We go every single August, and this is going to be a particularly fun year because my mother-in-law is coming for the first time ever. So we're going with my parents, which we do usually every other year, and then like I said, she's joining us for the first time this year. So in this video, I want to show you a little bit about packing for the food aspect of the trip. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the gear and things we bring. I'm not actually going to go into detail about what specific food we're bringing or anything like that, but I want to give you a little bit of information about how we prepare that aspect of our journey. So first things first, it's really important when you are preparing for a Boundary Waters trip that you keep burning bans in mind. It's always awesome to be up there and have a fire going, and it's just beautiful to look at, and it's a great way to cook your food, but you can't always count on that. Even in the days running up to your Boundary Waters trip, if there's no burning ban, it's really important to actually check on the day that you pick up your permit to make sure that you are appropriately set up. So when we are in the Boundary Waters, we bring an MSR stove. And that is our backup if there is a burning ban or, last minute kind of stuff, we're too busy running around setting up camp to go gather firewood or something, or if it's been really wet so we can't gather any dry firewood. So we bring an MSR stove. It's really small, really simple to use, and packs up really nice and small. I definitely recommend considering something like this if you are going to be heading out on a Boundary Waters trip. One of the things you want to have prepared more in advance is your fuel. The reason I say you want to make sure you prepare in advance is because you don't know about that burning ban, or at least you're not 100% confident until the last minute. So we always prepare to have some extra fuel with in case there's not a burning ban. We have quite a few already prepared for this journey, and we will leave some behind if the burning ban is not in effect and it's a really low risk of fire. So that takes care a little bit of preparations for actually cooking your food. When you are looking at starting a fire, obviously you have all of your basics and things like that, fire starter and whatnot, but something I find particularly helpful is, I don't know what you call this. It's a long tube, and you can use it. It's kind of almost like a bellows, and you just use it to kind of stoke the flames. Probably couldn't really tell much out of that, but it really concentrates the air that's coming out, and if you focus this down on the embers, it's really going to help that flame kick up. So when you are working on starting a fire, this can be something that's really, really helpful. Moving on from stoves and fire, I'm going to talk to you about the actual cookware that we bring. We have 5 people going with us this year, and unfortunately the set that we have is really easily conducive to 4 people. We absolutely love this cook set that we have. I have no idea what the brand is, but it's really, really fantastic. It has everything you need. So it has your big pot, and then if you dig in there, it has one stainless cooking pan. You have another lid for an additional pan that's tucked inside here. And then on top of that, inside you have 4 cups. And these are awesome because actually 2. So this is a great way for us to have our oatmeal in the morning along with our coffee. This is really, really helpful, and all 4 of these packed together very nicely. I don't know if you can really see that. Right here inside the cook kit. Below those, we have our smaller pot. And then underneath that, the plates sit perfectly down there. And you will notice they're all nice and color coordinated so nobody gets confused on their things. So as we have my parents, my husband and I, and my mother-in-law, unfortunately all 5 of our cups don't fit, but my mother-in-law does have the same set as we do. So we have put all 5 plates here, and we're just gonna tuck everything all back together with 1 extra cup, just kind of chilling on its own. This is a really, really nice way to have everything well organized. You have your 2 pots for anything additional, you know, if you're going to be making a regular dish and then a side, you have that. The bigger one is nice for when you're doing dishes later in the day after your meal. And then this right here is, where is it? Really convenient because it actually has a handle right here. So you just tuck that right back down inside one of the cups when you're not using it. You have your pan all ready to go too. So it's pretty convenient. I remember when we were going to the Boundary Waters when I was little and we did not have anything that convenient by any means. So it's really nice to have everything go together nice and tight like that. I don't know why I'm having a struggle here, but I am. So, there we are. Get that all tucked away. It's got this nice little carrying thing, and Titanium Evernew. I don't know if that's actually the brand or not, but you can get this at REI, Midwest Mountaineering, those kind of things. If you are here in the Twin Cities area, they all carry this really excellent, excellent gear. All right, moving on from that, you also have to be very careful about what water you're drinking. Giardia is a very serious illness that you can actually get from beavers, and so if you're on a lake that has a beaver house or anything like that, you need to absolutely be careful, but that's not the only kind of bacterial and things that are up there, so you need to be really, really careful about cleansing your water. One great way to do it, of course, is boiling, and the old school way from when I was growing up is, of course, using iodine. I still actually kind of like the taste. It's a terrible taste, but it reminds me of all the fun times I had there growing up, so I don't know, something's wrong with you, but I actually kind of like it a little bit. But we now have a really excellent gravity water filter. This is very convenient. You just put the water on the top. I'm not going to hook it all together, but basically you hook this onto the bottom. Then it has this awesome water filter. Pop this into the bottom and then through the bottom. And this is a particularly nice thing. It can screw really nicely onto the top of like a Nalgene water bottle. So you can screw it right there and walk away. You don't have to worry about it tipping over, anything like that. Of course, you can still tuck it inside of a pot or whatnot, but this is really, really convenient. I want to encourage you that if you do go to the Boundary Waters, you make sure that you do have backups. You never know if that's going to get broken or lost, so we do still bring iodine tablets with us because it is so extremely important that you are prepared and you're taking good care of yourself when you're up there. When you are moving on after dinner, the Boundary Waters is a very pure, pristine place. It is extremely important that you are careful with the lakes. We do have some great soap, but even though it says biodegradable on it, that doesn't mean you can use it in the water or right next to the water. I can't tell you how important it is to follow along with the rule of washing yourself, your dishes, or anything at least 150 feet away from any water. That could be the big lake that you're on, a little pond, anything like that. Biodegradable is great and all, but it does not mean you can use it in the lake. So definitely pick yourself up some biodegradable dish soap when you're heading up there. It's just a much better way to care for the environment, but make sure you handle it responsibly. Additional things that we have are, this is really nice kind of a more malleable and easily carried cutting board. So it's basically just kind of some hard plastic. So it's fairly light and it's really easy to tuck right into the pack. So this is very helpful for us. Additional things. You want leather gloves that you can use to grab stuff off the stove. Like I showed you, there's that great little handle that you can quickly slide onto the pan there, but you might have to grab pots, other things like that. So good quality leather gloves that are not going to melt, like a pair of plastic gloves or thin slit or something like that, extremely important. The last thing that we use as kind of a typical in-camp item is a big water container. We find this really helpful. Even though we have a great water purifier, I still like to go out into the middle of the lake, or at least quite a ways away from shore, to get the water that we start with to avoid any algae or things like that. So this is a great way to get that water from the middle of the lake. You just paddle out there in the canoe, twist the top off, and fill it up, bring it back in, and tip it right into your water purifier. Very convenient. On top of all of that, we keep it pretty minimal with all of the utensils and things that we bring. We have a basic, of course, spoon and fork for everyone. We bring basically one sharper knife and have that on hand for cooking stuff. We have, fillet knife and things like that for fishing, but for the most part for cooking, it's just a pretty small one here. We have a very, very lightweight set of utensils for actually cooking and stirring and flipping and whatnot. This is really nice. It's a super, super lightweight pair of tongs. Very, very helpful. And just so you can see the gear that we have for our fork and spoon. Also, we use refillable lighters, so that's really convenient. We're not throwing plastic away over and over. It's refillable, very, very easy to use. Just make sure you fill it up before you go. We use one scrubby the whole time that we're up there with our, again, biodegradable soap that we use 150 feet away from the water. The other thing that we do use, this is a really, really convenient item. It's good for scrubbing out the pan, but then also you can use some of these other edges here to kind of scrape things off. So that is the gist of what we have for utensils and things when we are up there. A fork works really well in place of a whisk if you had been interested in bringing something like that. So really encourage that direction. And then, of course, just a good fillet knife. We will definitely be doing some fishing up there. My husband is an excellent fisher person and an even better cook of fish, so I'm excited. If you follow my YouTube channel pretty frequently, and my Instagram and other social media platforms, you'll see that I really love wild ramps. It's kind of like a cross between onion and garlic, and we have a bunch of wild ones up at our property. I made a wild ramp seasoned salt this spring, and that's something we'll bring with, and it is absolutely delicious on fish, maybe along with some lemon salt. So really tasty. Since we are getting more into the fishing aspect of it, I won't go into this a whole lot. My husband is the fisher person. I do it a little bit just because it can be kind of relaxing, but I actually don't always fish when we're up there. I do buy a fishing license in case I do fish, but even if I don't, I feel really good about purchasing that because it goes to conservation. So I love spending that money even if I may not ever pick up a fishing pole. So my husband brings, I should really probably have him be doing this portion of it, but he won't go on the YouTube channel yet. So he really likes to fish with, well, they're all stuck together, but these guys, when he is up there, the colors, something about them, fish love them, he gets bites all the time. We got that. We do have really nice collapsible poles, so that's nice and convenient. It takes up way less room, weighs a lot less when we're up there. So, happy about that. An additional thing that we keep typically in our cook kit, because you never know when burns are going to happen, plus it's just a convenient place for it, is our first aid kits. obviously imperative for if you're heading out into the wilderness. The thing that's really nice about this one is it's small, it's light, it's compact, but it has all of the necessary. It has the adhesive bandages, it has different burns and burn gels, creams, things like that, gauze pads, etc. It's going to have moleskin and other kind of bandages. It has antiseptic cream, antiseptic wipes, and things such as, ibuprofen, and other, small pain meds and things. So it's very, very nice to have this with. Luckily, we have never had to use it, but always an important item. Last things about actually in the food pack, we bring one of kind of micro towels and the microfibers, so they dry really quickly and they clean things up really nice. And that is about all we have in our cook kit. So what I'm going to do now is show you a little bit about how we actually pack everything together. Obviously, in the Boundary Waters, your gear is essential to having a good time and your safety and your well-being. So you want to make sure that it is all going to stay dry and with you. One of the things that makes sure that happens is a pack liner. This is basically just an enormous, probably can't hear me. It's an enormous bag that you put inside of your pack. So you start out, and you want to make sure it fits in there really nicely. So I'm going to go in and grab the corners. And get them tucked right down on the very inside corners of my pack. I'm sure you've already noticed this is much taller and seemingly quite a bit bigger than my pack. There is a reason, and I will explain it to you. I'm going to get everything put in here, and then I'll go over that. And when you're packing, you want to be really aware of how things are fitting in there, not only for preservation of space, but you got to remember this is going to be on your back. Boundary Waters is not just about canoeing. You have to portage between every single one of the lakes. So having a pack that is comfortable is extremely important for any kind of enjoyment on the portage. So I'm going to be very aware of how I'm spacing things. One thing I'm going to do is our cutting board here, I'm going to put that in the very back. So this is going to be what's resting against my back, and it'll prevent a little bit of that discomfort. One of the things I didn't mention, but that is very important that we bring, is a tarp. You never know if it's going to be raining or wet or anything like that, and you want to make sure you keep your stuff and yourself nice and dry while you're cooking. We also bring some duct tape because this fixes everything, including even a hole in your canoe. You have to be very, very careful, of course, but this is nice because you can patch this right over a hole. It's not going to be sustainable for long, but it'll get you in and out. Also, along with the tarp, you are going to want to have some ropes. And along with that, we bring some clothespins as well and make a miniature clothesline because you're always wet when you're in the Boundary Waters. And a final extremely key item is, of course, toilet paper and some hand sanitizer. So to my explanation of why the huge bag. One of the great things about this is that not only does it keep the wet out, it's going to keep some air in. So what I'm going to do when I close this up, I'm going to do something that's called a white water roll. And that's called a white water roll because if you're in high white water, you're more than likely, not more than likely, but you're more likely to tip your canoe or something like that. And you want all of your gear to be safe. And what this does is I'm going to roll it actually a little bit loose so there's still some air in there. Not loose, that's not the right word. I'm gonna roll it up a little bit bigger so there's some more air in there, and then I'm gonna roll it up really tightly so that no air is actually going to escape. So I am just gently folding this over little bits at a time. Some of the excess air out, but not all of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both ends and I'm going to twist them pretty significantly. I'm going to pull them forward and tuck them under that roll. So now I've got some extra air in there, so if this were to go overboard, it would float for at least a little while. Also, because I tucked it under there so well, no water is going to get into it. Before I close her up, we put our fuel in these convenient little pouches right in the front. One across the top. And then I'm going to close it all up. And there you have it. Our cooking gear is packed for the Boundary Waters. I hope you learned a fair amount about why we pack what we pack and how it keeps us successful when we're out on trail. I have another video that shows kind of what we pack in what we call our personal pack. So our clothing and other gear that we bring. So make sure you continue to check out our videos to learn more in that one as well. And to make sure you are staying up with all of those, hit that subscribe button below, and there's a little bell icon. It's a follow icon. If you hit that, you'll get notified every single time we post a video. Along with following us there, make sure to check out our blog, themnhomestead.com. And lastly, we have an Instagram account at the.mn.homestead, and we post fun updates, pictures, things like that on a daily basis, except when we're off grid in the Boundary Waters. So thank you again for joining us at the MN Homestead. I'm excited to have shared this info with you so you can get started planning your Boundary Waters trip. And we will see you next time at the MN Homestead.